My daughter Rylan began telling me things that made me look at life and death in a whole new way. She said she'd been in heaven and she'd met my mother. She told me that the rain shocked her and she had died. I was really worried and I wondered what it all meant. She mentioned living in Louisiana, and I was very curious to what I could find. I decided to do some research to see if I could find anything connected to what Rylan had said. I searched for Louisiana girl shocked or killed by lightning, and I did find an article. The article that I had found just talked about a little girl who was walking home or near her backyard and that was killed by lightning in the 1940s in Louisiana. When I saw the article, I was like, okay, could this be it? Could this be what she was talking about? Was this the little girl that my daughter could have been? I didn't tell her anything about it because I'd always been very careful about the questions I had asked her, kept them very open-ended because I didn't want to put anything there or make her think that I was connecting anything that she was saying. I wanted it all to come directly from her. Right before Rylan's 6th birthday, I was combing my son's hair and she walked into the doorway of the bathroom. She said, "I remember a plane crash in Louisiana." It didn't match the article that I had found. I thought, well, I'm gonna Google plane crash Louisiana. And there was something that popped up, and it was not something I was expecting. There were several articles that popped up about the Pan Am 759 plane crash in Kenner, Louisiana. At the time, it was the second largest plane crash in aviation history, and it was in 1982, and the plane crashed in a thunderstorm. The plane crashed shortly after takeoff from the New Orleans airport, and it crashed into a neighborhood. Everyone on board was killed, along with 8 people on the ground. And there was lightning in the area. It was a very bad thunderstorm. I wanted to be very careful about not saying anything to Rylan about it. I tried not to think about it too much. I was just kind of waiting for Rylan to tell me more about it. And then a couple days later, she said, 1971. And I said, well, what do you mean? 1971, I know that year, that sounds familiar. She told me the name Jennifer, that Jennifer was familiar to her. That name made a difference to her. And she just walked off. I hadn't mentioned anything to her in the article or anything I'd read on the internet, but as I kept reading through the articles, it did mention a girl by the name of Jennifer, and she was 11 years old, and she was one of the first people that was killed on the ground by the airplane when it crashed. When I read that the little girl was 11 years old, and the accident was July 9th, 1982, I made the instant connection that that little girl had been born in 1971. And that's when I realized that Rylan wasn't the little girl from the lightning strike in the 1940s. Rylan could have been Jennifer. It was just more amazing at that point than anything else.
It was like, this is it. To me, we found what she's been going through.
There was burning fuel coming out of the plane. That was an instant connection for me. When we would change her clothes, she would say that everything burns. That's where it's coming from. Does she remember a plane coming towards her? What does she remember? 3 weeks later, we were in the car, and she asked me if I wanted to see a picture of the plane. I will never forget that day.